Hello, Mount Vernon. Good to see you folks. Just want to stay in touch with you along the way here. I heard a story years ago that has just kind of stayed in my mind. I think about it occasionally. I've heard it referenced to who it was, but I've never found it in print. So it might be one of those preacher stories, or it may be one that just has been passed down. But the story goes like this. There was a famous evangelist who was asked one time why he didn't have a armed security unit around him. And I thought his response was just really good because he said, you know, God has a hedge of protection around me, and I'm safe until he lifts that hedge. At that point, I would arrive in heaven. Isn't that good? Isn't that good? What a great way what a good way to live. Hebrews chapter 11 says, without faith it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. You know, we're called to walk by faith. Isn't that amazing? It's so easy to walk by sight, especially when stuff's going on around us that seems like everything's caving in or something. But we're, as believers, to walk by faith. You know, in an ultimate sense, walking by faith is simple as just believing that God is overseeing it all. It's not a license to live foolishly, but rather it's freedom to live confidently, knowing that God has us in his hands. Walking by faith is also trusting God's providential hand. Have you ever heard of the guy named Charles Spurgeon? Well, if you've been around here very long, you know I've mentioned him to us often. Charles Spurgeon got lost one Sunday in a snowstorm, arrived at the wrong church, and was gloriously saved. There's a guy named Oswald Chambers. Oswald Chambers died of appendicitis in an army camp in Egypt. His wife took he was a chaplain, by the way, she took his transcribed talks back to the United Kingdom and divided them up into daily readings, now read, perhaps even by you, every day, my utmost for his highest. I've got an old copy of that here. And what a treasure this is that we have that. Now think about it, God's providential hand in a snowstorm, and look what happened in the life of Spurgeon. And then what we would call a tragedy there with Chambers dying. And yet, in God's providential ways, his wife takes those things, those notes that have been such a encouragement and blessing to people for many, many years. Folks, I think we ought to believe God. I believe we ought to walk in faith and trust him. Now, that doesn't mean to live foolishly, right? It's not a license to live foolishly, but it is a license, not a license. It's a freedom to live by faith. Hey, a couple of things I want to tell you about as well. On our website, there's a couple of things that I want you to, if you have the capability to look at that, I want you to take a look at them. One of those is some information. It's just posted there about how decisions are being made since we aren't getting together, we aren't having business meetings and those kind of things. And some things that pertain to the church as a whole, how we're making decisions there. In short, it just basically means that the pastoral staff and the deacons and appropriate ministry committees are getting together and making some decisions, and we'll hopefully be back real soon and we can get back into our usual business meetings and take care of matters that way. Now, there's a second thing, and you're going to get this in the mail, but it's on the website. You can use it. You can fill it out on the website. That would be ideal. But if you don't have that capability, we're going to send it to you. We're going to mail it to you. And all it is just a questionnaire. Don't let it scare you. It's got several questions that's just going to ask about your level or your thoughts or your input about when we finally get to come back together. Hey, listen, that's going to be soon, I think. And we've got to make some decisions about how best to do that. So take a look at that. Read it. Respond to it. If you can't post it online, mail it back to us or bring it by the church office. Hey, listen, let's walk by faith today. You have a good day. Bye.